Okay, this firm, oh, it's your worst nightmare. You're closing in on tax season and a key team member quits. Okay, in this case, it's about half your tax prep staff. It's now January 31st, and you don't have a way to get all of these tax returns done. Come on in, we're in disaster recovery mode on this week's Roast to Firm, presented by Firm 360.
You call that a profit margin? Yeah, who needs automation when you've got 5 monitors? There is a mouse? Oh, is that what the client said? Well, maybe the client should prepare the return then, huh?
Okay, so the goal here is to give this firm a few bits of practical advice, but to make matters even more interesting, this is one of those firms that's cold calling people for employee retention credit work. Yuck! Is that a bad thing? Is this all some sort of accounting karma coming back around? The ghost of Chuck Reddick teaching this firm an important lesson? Let's see. Here's some background about this firm. Okay, we're sitting at $370,000 in revenue the past 12 months. It's 100% tax work. They're in a mid-sized market. They've got the owner, an assistant, and a part-time preparer. But the big news here is they had another preparer that just walked in January. Whoops. Worth highlighting, the revenue is split 4 ways. $200K on annual tax prep, $30K per year on tax planning clients who are on monthly recurring payments, $135K in employee retention credit work, and $6K on software sales. Pain points, okay? Staffing is the biggie. They're now wildly over capacity as they lost effectively 1/3 of their output staff. That's it. That is overshadowing everything. What they're enjoying, I can't think much, but the owner likes developing products. I shared they sold $6K in software to accountants last year. They really enjoy that, in addition to the more technical tax planning, the ugly stuff. They've broken filing season into 9 milestones. Each client belongs to one of those 9 target delivery windows. Aside from tax filings, ERC work has taken over time they used to spend on tax planning. Contracts are sent out to tax prep clients in January and deposits are taken. Organizers go out automatically on acceptance. All the bookkeeping's referred out, and they do quarterly check-ins with tax planning clients. They increased 1040 pricing 40% this year. Average last year was 500, it's now up to 700. They didn't raise rates on businesses, but plan to raise them 80% next year. God bless. The single owner biz minimum is $925. Tax planning clients pay $250 a month and up with a $3,000 upfront initial projection, and ERCs are priced at 10% of the credit. They get a ton of referrals and website traffic, but they're turning most of that away. They've had great success with outbound ERC marketing via phone and email. So you're the one. And they're pulling back from a niche due to the challenges of building local tax expertise for clients around the country. So, for each of these roasts, I always post the details on social media to collect some feedback, and it usually gets pretty spicy.
Get those cheapskates out of there. That's not a business, that's a job. Put it to the ground. I hope you can vote in those ERCs. It could be a source of idle capacity. Give me some extensions! Where are my big talents?
It was actually pretty civil this time. Let's highlight a few in particular that I liked in meaty tweets, which is now actually tweets and LinkedIn comments now that I am Mr. Worldwide. Pitbull joke. Too many revenue streams, get focused, double down on tax and planning and try to get to $200K in revenue per staff member. There is a lot happening in this firm, isn't there? Especially when you're small, it's hard to silo out those different things and everyone ends up doing a little bit of everything. How about going to work for a mid-sized firm? Blasphemy. I actually like this. So the firm owner in this roast hasn't worked at another public accounting firm before. If you recall, this was actually one of my recommendations to a past roastee. There is value in seeing how other firms operate from the inside, and it doesn't have to be a forever decision. And I love this, start broad, stabilize the firm by immediately hiring a replacement, however you can get them, contract or otherwise. Medium term, focus on upselling prep clients to planning on a yearly retainer, cross-sell to your ERC clients. Then if you really want to develop a product, consider pulling in a partner with product expertise. Really like high quality input from folks on this one. I'll put my Twitter and LinkedIn in the video description. These are fun discussions. Now 3 bits of advice from little old me, and I'm gonna wade into the whole ERC shilling thing. Okay, up first, here's the thing when you're an itty bitty firm, especially as you're hiring your first employee. When you hire your first employee and theoretically double your capacity, or I don't know, halve again your capacity, maybe not double. That person has got you by the 10 key because if they leave, overnight you can only serve half to 2/3 of your clients, right? It's different than when you're hiring your 101st employee, because then you got a bunch of folks to distribute that load. But it's even much worse than when you're hiring your 5th employee. So this problem, which is painful to anyone, is especially painful for solo operators. And what I encourage is to think outside the box in how you hire. De-risk by diversifying your staffing model across a few different sources. 1, traditional hiring, full-time or even better part-time, but hard to find those people. 2, part-time contractors. And 3, outsourced groups. Now, in the same way that hiring one employee is risky, hiring one contractor or one outsourcing group is also risky. So the upside here is you can begin work with 3 or 4 of them. You're gonna have top performers, you're gonna have underperformers, plan on 25 to 50% of them not even being contributors at all. That's just the reality of doing contract prep. But the goal is to distribute that risk across different sources. Part-time contract is probably the most straightforward. You know what that means. But to be clear on the third option, an outsourcing group, rather than buying hours from a contractor, what you're buying is tax returns. These services are a little more black box. You're not necessarily always working with the same person and come with their own upsides and downsides. Now, people get caught up on offshoring here. In the US, 7216 requirements are a reason to disclose, not a reason to not outsource. But there's still some misplaced kind of pearl clutching around offshoring. If your reaction to offshoring is, buddy, my clients would never go for that. Well, your clients are different, are they? Welcome to what every single accountant has ever said about offshoring since the dawn of time. Nobody has ever said, oh, offshoring. My clients would love that. But the fact that there may be some friction there does not mean it is not the right thing for you. Every single mid-size and up firm is doing it, and virtually every service provider you use beyond a certain size has been offshoring for the past decade. Don't let your clients dictate what is the right decision for you. But all of that is to say, there are a lot of different ways to get the work done offshore or not, even if it's just onshore. Never become totally reliant on one, yourself included. I'm looking at you. Let's say you get long COVID tomorrow and can only get half of the work done. You need help, bub, so diversify. Now, when it comes to managing projects across different providers, that can be a challenge, especially as most solo firms are still managing projects in Excel. Blah. Number 1, please pick up a cloud practice management system, absolutely worth the investment. Number 2, check out this video sponsor, Firm 360. Now, I've talked before about how to use your cloud practice management system to send requests to clients. It is a massive productivity unlock, but normally it requires a bunch of fiddling with statuses. Okay, I'm waiting on client. They sent some stuff back. Is it prep now? Nope. Okay, he only sent half the stuff back and waiting on client. And sometimes projects kind of get in this, like, they get lost, right? Check this out. Wild feature from Firm 360 under customizations called project workflows. I'm gonna go to tax project workflow. Here's my sequence of steps. This will look familiar. Though, by the way, already better than the traditional status, which is ambiguous. Is that the thing I'm doing or the thing that I just did? Here they give you an action, a status, and a target status, but check this out. Visualize. Ooh, it's like chutes and ladders for your tax return workflows. So, for example, client info is received. Sweet. Wait, no, it isn't, Steve. You're missing like half the info still. I create some client tasks in Firm 360, and the status kicks back to waiting on info. But once they complete the tasks, it automatically kicks back to the other status. Pre-processed documents or preparation. You don't have to shuffle around statuses anymore. It's gonna update automatically when the client completes those tasks. That is a huge time saver, especially if you're managing a team, contractors, a bunch of folks who you want to be notified the moment you receive the client info back. Super cool. Bravo, Firm 360. Check out the link in the description to learn more. By the way, if you're still watching this, get that like button, a little diddle, and it'll show this video to more people. Okay, I just said diddle. Okay, second bit of advice. Promise I'm done talking about offshoring. Decide what you want to do for now. The thing they're most enjoying is software development, but they're running a tax practice. And it would be one thing if this was a big practice with different teams, doing different types of work, but when you're small, I'm gonna echo some of what Brandon Hall said here. Everybody can't be doing a bunch of different things. I mean, you can, you just won't do any of them well or efficiently. I have personally preached the value of selling digital products. I think it is a great unlock in your firm, but at this stage where you're everything for the business, that's gonna be really hard. So if software and product development is top of the list right now, either just go do that or spend a few years getting the firm to a point where it's more passive, where you have somebody running the day-to-day of the firm for you, so you have more freedom to go work on other projects. Quite obviously, I enjoy working on different types of projects at the same time. So it's not as though it cannot be done, but my approach is more along the lines of set up a business, build a team around that business to make your touch points as efficient as possible, and there are actually great benefits to doing different types of stuff. Oftentimes what you pick up from one project benefits another project. But the state of this firm today is such that you're the one making everything happen, which is gonna make it really hard to focus on other stuff. So product development, either go all in or shelve it for a few years until you have the firm in a more self-sufficient place. Now, last, let's address the old elephant in the room, ERC shilling. I've said before, I suspect ERC shilling may go down as the greatest tax grift of all time. It's a huge problem. It has put tax pros in a really tough spot, but it is also a once in a decade, maybe more marketing opportunity. When else have you been able to put this much money into clients' pockets? Goodness sakes. You think back to stuff like R&D credits, domestic production activity deduction. ERC might dwarf all of those things. It just has to be done right. So ERC marketing is not fundamentally bad. Promising ERCs that would never stand up under scrutiny, that is bad. Don't do that. So I've got no qualms with the fact that nearly 40% of the firm's revenue last year came from ERCs. When that tax preparer walked out the door, you lost that staff member. Did your priorities change? Should you still be doing ERCs? And the easy answer here is to say, stop doing ERCs, focus on the core business, but I think it's squishier than that. The ERC revenue, I'm gonna hazard a guess, was likely easier than the tax prep revenue. It's generally gonna be higher margin work, and at a time when you're worried about continuity of the business, losing a ton of clients, walking away from your most profitable service line, yeah, you should. You probably should. Probably pump the brakes on outbound ERC. Keep doing ERC for folks you've got that are on the client list, but you don't need more clients. You need a more sustainable staffing model, and hopefully a way to build in more recurring revenue, rather than 40% of the business being project work. And it might all mean the company goes backwards for a year or two, but it's the difference between building something sustainable and cashing in on a one-time opportunity. Now, my answer here may be different if they were looking to get into a new niche. I think ERC is a great way to get into a new type of client. But given that they're sitting back right now and reassessing, I'd slow the ERC outreach and probably double down on the ongoing work, specifically planning work where they're getting people on a fixed monthly fee. What do you think? Am I going too easy on these ERC charlatans? They aren't charlatans. ERC work is good work. We need to be doing it the right way. Love to hear any advice you have for them in the comments. And let's roast your firm. Complete the form in the video description for a chance to be anonymously roasted as well. Oh, ooh. Idle capacity.
I can opacity.